Hello, Graphic Design 1. We are going to go ahead and start our manipulation project and otherwise known as the artwork remix. On Google Classroom, you can find the assignment and all of the directions. So the first step is going to be choose one of 49 famous paintings from the list in the link below. Read about your chosen painting so you have a little background knowledge about the piece, and then right-click on your chosen painting and save it to your device. So if I scroll down here, 49 most famous paintings, click and open that up. One thing, I think this is the only mistake that I saw in this list. If you scroll down here, it takes a minute to load. There we go. This piece right here, it says The Night Cafe. The Night Cafe is another masterpiece created by Vincent van Gogh. That is incorrect. I believe they may have switched out the image and forgot to change this. So just know that this information is not correct. If I go and do a Google search for Night Cafe by Vincent van Gogh, it's definitely not the right piece. Okay, this is Night Cafe by Vincent van Gogh. So just a heads up about that it's probably the wrong information. But if I scroll through, you'll see all of these different paintings done throughout the ages. These are arguably the most famous paintings in the world, most of them Western, so that's one thing to keep in mind, but you might recognize some of them. And you can scroll through and find one that you find either interesting or that you think you can remix. So you're going to do some manipulation, and we're going to talk about what that is shortly. But I'm just going to choose an image here. I'm going to scroll through. I think I might have missed the one I was going to choose. Let's see, maybe. I think I did. I was looking for, whoop, Night Swatch is there. So yeah, that's the Night Swatch. This one, whoops. All right, so American Gothic is the one I'm going to use. So I'm going to right click and do save image as. You can save it wherever it works for you. If you're using a phone, just save it to your files. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. And then you're going to open up Photoshop. So Photoshop or Photopea. So File, Open. I'll find that image. I have a million other things here. Something that's kind of cool, George Takei. I did some Photoshop work for him on Facebook, actually, of all places, and he liked my work. I was so excited. Where did I save it? Let's see. That's the other thing. Pay attention to what you name your piece here. Let's see. That was American Gothic. Okay, so it should be in the A's up here. Maybe. I don't see it. Uh-oh. Right click, save image as. Weird. It's on my desktop. Am I just blind? I swear. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. That's why. Jeez. That's what happens, people, when you don't sleep well the night before. Okay, here we go. My apologies. Okay, so American Gothic. This is a very, very famous painting. Um, It's a piece by Grant Wood. So the information is all here. It's from the 1930s and very, very classic piece here. Very, very well known. So manipulation is all about changing the image to make it look like all of these pieces are combined. They're also known as composite images. And composite images are images taken together. So let's say I have 3 photos and I'm going to combine those 3 photos in a way in which you don't even like see them as 3 separate photos. So you would look at it and say, wow, that's a cool piece. It's been changed, it's been photoshopped, but it looks like everything belongs. So a good example of somebody else using American Gothic for a remix is this one right here. So they did kind of a zombie-fi type thing. Very, very fun. We have, brains on the pitchfork, very very gruesome, very morbid. They make them look like zombies. Their eyes are kind of clouded over and there's blood. So this is manipulation. They took these textures, the blood stains, the brain, and zombified this image. So they're changing the image. That's kind of the first thing to think about. You want to change the image, and you're going to be using Creative Commons images. So before we move on to that, I just want to kind of show you some examples of manipulation. So we're going to go into Google Images here. So I'm going to say manipulation, Photoshop. And this will give you a good idea of what manipulation is. And I think we've already talked a little bit about it, but just in case you've forgotten or you don't really quite understand, this is a great chance to kind of figure this out. This is a great skill to have in graphic design. So this one, for example, okay, oftentimes artists will or photographers will use models for this or themselves. They'll take pictures of themselves or models in certain poses because they have this composition, this idea in their head. So things like the suitcase and the light, this is all fantasy. This is not real, but they created this composite of images, this cool manipulation to kind of almost tell like a story, to create a new work of art. So these are not using famous paintings, but they are original manipulated pieces. So here's another one. They're often very fantasy inspired. And if you take Graphic Design 2, we do a project very similar to this, very fantasy inspired, except we use our own photos for it. So you have to plan it out, pose yourself, and then we turn that into a 3D photo. So again, manipulation, you're trying to make it look like things belong, things such as shadows here. So blending things in, cutting things out really nicely so you don't have any, Photoshop fails. You don't want it to look really terrible. You want it to look very natural, playing around with scale. So just super fun. So when you choose your image, just think about how you can change that. And you have to use at least 2 images that are Creative Commons images. So I'm going to bring up Creative Commons images. And the first thing you'll probably find is the one that we've used already, so the CC search. But you can scroll down and find places that offer Creative Commons images. Another place I do know for sure is Unsplash. Unsplash is actually super cool because they are totally free. So if I searched for, I don't know, let's say a whale. All right, these are totally free images that you can go ahead and download. And for the most part, most of them will be open source, free, public domain images, which is super awesome. So you can just download it for free. Sometimes they will ask that you give credit. So you could say at Todd Cravens, as Todd is the photographer for this piece. But there's actually quite a few really cool images on here. On the other hand, with Creative Commons, which you are probably a lot more familiar with, go to CC search. And I'm going to click or type in whale. Here again, you can sort by specific license. So in this instance, you're going to want to try and find images that will allow you to change the image. So the main thing is that you don't want it to say ND. NC would be fine because you're not using this for commercial purposes. You're using it for educational purposes. You're going to submit it. So NC is fine, which is non-commercial. But ND, you don't want to choose that because that means no derivatives. That means it's not going to let you change the image. So I'm going to click on any of these except for ND. Okay, so leave out that one because there's an ND there. Public domain is great. CC0, great. Okay, so now any of these images are allowed. Okay, so you can scroll through, click on one, and then find the attribution, and everything's there. So let's say I'm going to find, so I have my American Gothic. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I think I will try to put an airplane in the sky in the background. So let's see if I can find an airplane. And you'll notice some things are harder to find than others. Like if you're looking for a very specific thing, it can be really difficult to find. Make sure that my licenses are selected here. the ones that I want to search for. There's actually a good number here. This is not bad. Sometimes the quality is funny. Here we go. Okay, actually, I like this one. So I'm going to actually open up a Google Doc. So this is something you'll want to do as well. You basically want to keep track of the attributions of your images. So this is just walking you through that. So let's say I got this. I'm going to right click and just copy it. And I'll go down to Photoshop and then do Control V to paste. Okay, so there is my airplane. But before I leave this, because I don't want to lose this attribution, I'm going to click on attribution here, and then I'm going to highlight this and copy it, and I'm just going to keep that in the Google Doc. So I'll just do a random new blank Google Doc. This is just for your own records, because you're going to have to put this attribution in your final work, and you don't want to have to run back and try and find that attribution. I'm actually going to copy the image too, just so I remember, because this is not an obvious name for an airplane. All right, I'll just scale that down. So I'm not saving this or copying it. This is just for my own reference. So you're not submitting this. This is just for you. All right, and then I have to find another image for sure. So I have to think about what I could add. Maybe I'm going to make him into an airline pilot. So I'm going to see if I can find a hat. So I'm going to do, let's see, pilot hat. Who knows? I don't know. Fine. Yep, that's all under there. And I might have to look under, oh, actually, this might work. I could cut out the hat there, maybe. Let me go back and see if there are any better ones. These are more just hats. You know what? I think this will work. So I'm going to actually just copy this. I'm going to basically cut out the hat. And Control V. Awesome. And then copy over. I'm going to copy over that image first, since I already have that selected, and my attribution. There we go. Maybe. Now, looking at mine, I would probably actually add a little more, because the hat in the airplane isn't doing all that much to change what's going on in the American Gothic image. But for now, this is just the example, and we'll kind of leave it at that. So these are my two images. That's the minimum required for the assignment. If you're looking to go above and beyond the expectations and to score a perfect score, I would do more than two images, maybe 3 or 4. You could have something maybe in the window up here, or like behind, whatever you want to do. You can even change the faces as well. Give some makeup or something to the figures. So I have them copied over. I have my Google Doc all set up. And in part 2, the next video, I'm going to show you how to start doing some manipulation techniques to make it look like these things belong in the composition.